I'll hear from Jan Logie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to take a short call for the Greens on the Police Cost Recovery Amendment Bill in these committee stages. And we are opposing this piece of legislation. And I remember when it was first introduced, so hot on the tails of the vulnerable children's legislation having passed and the requirement having been introduced into legislation at that time for increased police vetting for people working with children in our community. And then next minute, we got this piece of legislation that was saying community organisations would need to pay, and sports recreation, a whole range of organisations would now have to pay to get that vetting done. And it is a testament to the community organising and organising of certain members in this House that I'm looking at the moment, that an amendment we have been promised will now be made to regulation so that charities will not have to pay for that. But I do think it's important to remind people of the process that happened, and we are still, even with that exemption that we've been promised in regulation, we are still opposed to this piece of bill legislation, because while the rationale that's been put forward for it is that there's some kind of private benefit to be gained from vetting of people, we argue that the primary benefit is public safety. If the purpose is vetting to approve somebody's safety to be doing a job, then the ultimate benefit is got to be surely safety. And we believe that that therefore should be a core police function and not able to be put out and charged for, and that actually increasing the complexity of the systems within police to be charging the public for functions like this actually will have a detrimental impact on the entire organisation of the police, and that is not something that we can support. And there was almost universal rejection by submitters of the proposition that charges for demand services should be applied to police vetting of individuals who may be working in a paid or voluntary capacity. And we have seen that exemption for charities, but it may go, we are concerned at the scope of this, and while the initial fees have been set at a low level, there's almost always creep in these matters, and it could well end up...
I'm sorry to interrupt the honourable member. The time has come for me to report progress.
Mr. Chairman, I will
You what?
away
You're right, thank you.
Members, the House is resumed.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Policing Cost Recovery Amendment Bill and reports progress. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
Members, the question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. Aye. The motion is carried. The Policing Cost Recovery Amendment Bill is set down for further consideration in committee stage next sitting day. Members, the House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow.